Just before the 2023 NFL season was slated to officially kick off, I made a YouTube video on Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Kenny Pickett, how I thought he would fail as a starter in the NFL, how I thought he did not have what it takes to lead the Steelers to the promised land. And I think I was indeed correct on that assessment. And in the comment section of that video, I also made a YouTube short about how Pickett would fail in the NFL. On that short and on that YouTube video, there were a lot of absurd comments and saying how I was dead wrong and how Kenny's the man and how Pickett's the guy, he's the future, he's the franchise, and he's the next this, the next that, or whatever. He's the Terry Bradshaw, or he's Big Ben Roethlisberger. Just absurd comments that were nonsensical because clearly these people weren't watching the game film and really analyzing what Pickett was bringing to the table in his rookie season in the National Football League. One thing I was looking to see Pickett improve on was him going through his progressions, scanning through his reads, making the right choice, getting the quick game going so he can then set up the intermediate level of the field. Then that sets up the deep levels of the football field. Really not hard to understand. It doesn't take a fucking rocket scientist to understand this guy needs to use every level of the field. He doesn't do that. This guy's first read is his check down almost every single play. And I understand Matt Canada was running a shit show offense in Pittsburgh for the longest amount of time, to be honest with you. But really, why the hell are we scapegoating Canada when clearly Kenny Pickett was not capable of starting? Mason Rudolph comes in under, a new offensive coordinator and actually looks like a starting quarterback. Now, Mason Rudolph, that could have been some sort of, just lucky a couple game stretch for him. Who knows? And honestly, who cares? He's probably not going to be the starting quarterback of the Steelers next year regardless. He'll end up being the backup at best for that Steelers team. I'd advise him to request a trade to a team that actually will utilize his talents because he actually looked pretty solid. Looked like he could be a decent, sort of average game manager that, won't lose you a game, but, certainly is going to really carry your team on offense and win you a game either. So he looked capable of starting. I cannot say the same for Kenny Pickett. And I'd like to say, once again, there were some ridiculous comments on my videos, and it was insane to see these Steeler fans who were defending Kenny Pickett like they knew the guy personally, and it's crazy. It just goes to show you don't need to put that much trust into an athlete, especially a guy like Kenny Pickett. The guy's really not very good. Obviously, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be a fan of certain players, but at least do your due diligence, do evaluations, break down the game tape and see what that quarterback or player that you're scouting or evaluating has to offer. What chips, are they putting all their chips on the table, or are they just, they look lazy? Is there no effort on the game film, or, do they just not look like a polished, complete player in the NFL? That's the vibe I was getting from Pickett, honestly. He didn't look like he was ready for the NFL at all in this first year. In his second year, he looked a bit more overwhelmed, excuse me. That is the word I was trying to say, not underwhelmed. I apologize. But anyways, he looked overwhelmed at certain times on the film, not only in his rookie season, but in this current season. Second year is when you're expected to take, sort of a decent statistical leap. Looking at, Trevor Lawrence's rookie season, then comparing it to his second year campaign. He was a much better looking, more polished quarterback. Well, obviously, ironed out the kinks. Sometimes he was staring at guys, locking onto his first read, really not making his reads. He really improved upon that. Obviously, getting a new coaching regime really helped Lawrence's development as a quarterback in the NFL, but still, he looked much better as a pocket passer in the NFL. I was looking to see the same improvements with Pickett on the game tape. None of that whatsoever. This guy can't throw the ball, and I don't like making declarations like this because usually it backfires, and you get people in your comment section that will roast you till there's no end if you're dead wrong about a certain assessment or whatever. That's just how evaluations and scouting really works. But I'm going to make the bold claim that Kenny Pickett will not be in the league in 2 years. This guy is not capable of starting because he doesn't know how to read a defense. When you're looking at watching him on the game tape, when you're trying to evaluate and scout him in his second year, the tape's all over the place. What he's doing is just, it feels like he's not doing anything with a purpose on game film. It really looks like he's telegraphing everything that he does, and he's just doing the same thing over and over, not trying to go to the deep ball, not trying to throw into tight windows. And when he's throwing into these tight windows, the ball's not even close to where its intended target. And the rare times he made decent throws, the receiver really had to reach out and sort of bail him out. Because some of these quote-unquote decent throws, they're decent throws for Kenny Pickett. Like, they're decent throws for Kenny Pickett. Because Kenny Pickett, his accuracy and his ball placement down the field is just all over the place. Not in a good way, folks. Not in a good way. In the worst way humanly possible. Because what I was seeing is that he would throw it high, he would throw it low, behind, too far in front. I mean, it's just crazy. This guy doesn't know where to place the ball. Clearly he didn't. And I don't even know why he was drafted that high. Most teams, according to certain reports, didn't even have Pickett as a top 2-round guy. And the Steelers reached for Kenny Pickett in the first round of the draft. This guy does not have what it takes to play in the NFL. It's really that simple. It's not hard to comprehend. Once again, it's not fucking rocket science. Evaluations, they're easier sometimes than they look, and Kenny Pickett was one of the easiest evaluations ever, because I know, evaluating a rookie could be tough, but I saw all I needed to see. That's why I made that video. I saw everything I needed to see out of Pickett to know this guy's a surefire bust, and he shouldn't have been drafted in the first 6 rounds of the draft. Maybe like a 7th round scout team guy who, would be good for the scout team. When you're facing sort of a game manager-esque quarterback, like a Gardner Minshew, he could, be the scout team arm and replicate a guy like a Gardner Minshew. But he doesn't have what it takes to start in the NFL. He can't run, high-powered offenses because he doesn't have explosive offenses because he doesn't have the arm talent to do that. He makes Tua's arm look like fucking Jamarcus Russell. Now, I'm not saying Jamarcus Russell was the greatest quarterback. The guy had a bazooka. He made Tua look like he had the arm strength of Peyton Manning or something like that. Some guy with a cannon arm. He made him look like he was Jeff George. All right? And when you're making Tua look like he has a strong arm, Tua has like a below-average arm at best. That's not good. Kenny Pickett probably has the worst arm of any starting quarterback in the NFL, right there next to like a guy like a Kyler Murray. I think Kyler Murray's arm strength is very overrated. And, I mean, it's just, plus, when you're considering the fact that his ball placement is all over the place on the game tape, it doesn't make it any better. So you get a wobbly floating ball in the air, and the ball's not even in the correct spot it needs to be thrown in. That's a recipe for disaster in the NFL, and that's never going to go well. So my evaluation is that Pickett will probably be a backup in the next 2 years, and will probably be playing in the either the CFL or the UFL, whatever it is called, the combination between XFL and USFL, they merged. In the next 3 to 4 years, he will be a starter in the Canadian League or the United Football League, because he does not have what it takes to be a starter in the NFL, does not have the arm strength, does not have the accuracy, and does not have the processing ability and the ability to read coverages at the next level. Just very lackluster, not good throwing over the middle of the field. Ball floats in the air when he's throwing to the sideline. Really showed, mechanically he's okay, but that's about it mechanically. Throwing motion seems a bit long, especially when it comes to intermediate. He really looked like he was winding up and loading up to throw. Really can't sense blindside pressure, doesn't manipulate or read the pocket that well. Just not good whatsoever at processing coverage, and just did not look like a starter in his second year. So Pittsburgh in the offseason, man, should move on as soon as they can, because this guy is simply not the future of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Thank you all for watching. This has been Mr. Truth, and this was nothing but the truth.